Should have been you, Gordon.
Goedenavond, dit is Myster Media. Vanavond praten we over ecstasy, XTC. U heeft daar vast wel eens van gehoord. Dat is zo'n pilletje waar je wat opgewonden van wordt, wat opener en waar een heleboel jongeren nachtenlang op dansen. Ecstasy is een drug en dus verboden. Maar omdat er toch vele tienduizenden mensen zijn die deze pil geregeld gebruiken, gaan we op dit onderwerp in. We praten met Sasha Shulgin. Hij is de heruitvinder van ecstasy. Niet alleen van deze chemische drug, maar hij heeft de afgelopen tientallen jaren heel veel van die synthetische drugs gemaakt. Sasha Shulgin heeft daar een boek over geschreven. En Sasha Shulgin is de autoriteit op het gebied van het gebruik van deze drug. We praten met hem in zijn huis in de buurt van San Francisco. Maar Sasha Shulgin komt ook binnenkort, 16, 17 en 18 februari, naar Amsterdam en spreekt in Myster over onder andere ecstasy. We willen niet de indruk wekken dat we het gebruik van ecstasy willen bevorderen. Maar juist omdat voor bijvoorbeeld psychotherapie dit soort middelen bepaalde voordelen heeft, het maakt de mensen wat open. En omdat de discussie over dit onderwerp van belang is, gaan we in op ecstasy. We doen dit in het Engels, want meneer Shulgin praat nu eenmaal Engels. We gaan eerst even kijken in het laboratorium van Sasha Shulgin. De meest vreemdsoortige apparaten, allerlei chemische middelen. Hier doet Shulgin zijn onderzoekswerk. En hier maakt hij nieuwe componenten. Hij heeft daar ook van de Amerikaanse regering toestemming voor. Hij mag geen verboden drugs maken, maar hij mag wel onderzoek doen. En zoals u ziet, het lijkt wel het laboratorium van een echte... Shulgin's huis ligt in de buurt van San Francisco, in de bergen, vlak in de buurt van Mount Diablo. Shulgin is de auteur van Pikal en we praten over zijn chemische love story.
I look upon the whole area of the psychedelic things as being an immense, complex room with many openings, many doors, many baffles, many people, many plants, many compounds. And some people go in through the plant thing, they're interested in plants, they discover what's in plants, and then try to find out if the plants are active. They may not particularly appreciate the chemical view. Others go in as chemists and make chemicals or get chemicals out of plants and look at it at that point of view. But it's all in there, and it's all to be discovered. And every time you turn around, you get a new plant, a new chemical. And that's what I want to talk about. That's my last of my lectures. Is going to be active plants and active chemicals. And the fact they're totally different, yet they're totally the same. And how one approaches an argument of an active plant and what's in it and what makes it active.
Yeah, there is a trend that people say, oh, I don't want to use MDMA or
it's not natural.
CB because it's not natural.
What has natural got to do with anything? Where did it come from? Another planet? That'd be natural.
Yes, because
made by man, it's natural.
All these components are derivative of plants at some level or another.
Oh, they all start from the plant. The plant's the primary teacher of everything.
So even like LSD, which we see as a very chemical thing, comes from a chemical that is derived from
an ergot, from a fungus.
From a fungus.
Yeah. And so, for all we know, you turn around tomorrow and someone will get a little mushroom somewhere in the Arctic and there's LSD. Now, suddenly does it become okay? Because suddenly it's been found in a fungus? DMT, which is, of course, the champion of many of the people who argue that if it's not natural, it really shouldn't be looked at, was known for 23 years as a synthetic chemical before they ever found it in a plant. After 23 years, suddenly a flag goes up and says, hey, it's okay. So the natural is natural. And,
so this is discussion. Okay, but now people say that their experience with what they call natural, like mushrooms or whatever, marijuana, is different from the synthetic. Do you agree with that?
No, not if you have a pure chemical. Whether it comes from a mushroom or whether it comes from DuPont, it's the same chemical.
But some people say, like Terence said, that he finds the the ghost, the spirit of the mushroom in the experience.
If he takes the mushroom.
Yeah.
But did you take psilocybin? The chemical that's from the mushroom?
So it might be the contaminations from...
Oh, the mushroom has dozens of hundreds of things in it. And they all could interact. And it could be that this mushroom has a different combination of things than that mushroom. And this is okay. That was not so good. But as far as natural things goes, good heavens, strychnine is natural. Does that make it okay for shaman? It's not a brand of authority. It's a philosophy. And I don't put much weight in it. If you have a pure mescaline, whether it comes from peyote or San Pedro, or whether it comes from a chemical laboratory or what have you, it is a white crystalline material. Now, when you eat peyote or eat maybe a Pachycereus pachinoi or one of the Trichocereus things, you're getting mescaline with a lot of plant things. You're getting it bound in different ways. It goes in tissue. If you just eat the material, it's absorbed at a different rate. It is digested differently. It very definitely could be different kinetics, different speeds into the body, and that could very well influence the development of an experience. It could come along with 18 other alkaloids, all of which play a role in adjusting how you respond to it, how you interact with it, whether this aspect of a complex syndrome might be modified by one of the other minor components.
You say it's more colorful, more complex, but it's not totally different.
It may be less colorful, less complex. It may be one of the natural things in peyote robs the peyote user of this particular virtue, which is there if you use pure mescaline. So it need not be more or better. It could be less or less good. It could be different. It probably will be different.
Many of the people that come to like these workshops, they have experience with this stuff.
I would say most.
Why do they come? They want to compare their craziness, their visions with those of others?
Not probably. They probably do it anyway. They probably compare with their friends. They interact. They come because it's part of a family, for one thing. We were just talking about it a while ago. These people know one another. If they don't, they want to know one another. These are people with whom you feel comfortable interacting. There'll be a strange one here, and there'll be someone over there who's too short, and someone over there who doesn't smell good. Oh, these are all true. But still, they're all interested in kind of this experience of exploring themselves, exploring their own mind, exploring altered states of consciousness, what they can learn from this particular area. And it's an opportunity to talk to other people about what they have learned, what they have done.
Mm-hmm. Does it take down the barriers between people?
Mm-hmm. I think so, yeah.
Is that why in the old days maybe tribal cultures had more of a tribal feeling of belonging?
Well, it's another viewing of religion too. We have it in our culture where you go to the Presbyterian church on Sunday. I don't think you go to learn more about God or experience other people's experience of God. You go to get into a family in which you can give support and get support. So when something comes up that you may need to know someone or get or share something, you have a small community to work in. And in essence, the aspect of religion as we practice it in the Western culture is very much like this aspect of this type of sacred interaction, where you are indeed in touch with something that is not in ordinary consciousness and something that other people share.
I feel there's two strands of the use of psychedelics. One is this we could nearly call it social, a human interaction part, and the other part is the therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, the stuff that you have been working with synthetic amphetamines and stuff, has got some notoriety, some fame as a therapeutic tool. Mm-hmm. How do you see that?
Well, actually, I would have said there's three. I can see a third reason for it, interest in this area. One is the social interaction. One is a therapeutic, which in essence is a social thing again, because it's how you interact with other people, be it a therapist or your community. But the third is personal, because it's a way of personally uncovering who you are, what your role is, why you are doing what you're doing. It's a self-analysis, and it's such a self-growth. So that's really another part of the use of the psychedelic material. No, I don't totally work with natural materials. I work with plants also. I isolate things from plants. I have a number of occasions have gotten new compounds out of a plant identified their structures, synthesized them, and published. So it's a matter of using the plant not as a source of material, but as a source of information. And I think you find almost every drug that's used, almost every pharmaceutical is used, has had somewhere its origins, either discovery from a plant or discovery by accident. We don't have the wit to design things de novo.
We cannot, looking at the chemical formula, predict that a certain thing would work in this way.
Look at the cover of a blank book, predict the quality of the writing. No. No idea.
So it happens. Mm-hmm. We get it. Mm-hmm. But we have found a number, considerably more psychoactive chemicals over the past 40 years, and you did quite a number than in the centuries before.
Well, centuries before didn't have the tools for making new things. If it grew in the jungle, you could taste it, you could eat it, put it up your nose, put it up your behind. You somehow rub it on yourself. But you are, the main drive has been then, and as in many ways it is now, to survive, to somehow find food, find shelter, reproduce, and die with some sort of a satisfaction of having done something. And a lot of the things, how for example, do people in the jungle discover snuffs? How do they discover things that are only active up the nose? You don't go around taking barks of trees and fruits of things and bits of fungus off the ground and shoving it up your nose. This is not a usual way of
running around.
So there has been something more than just survival and trials of different plants and so forth. There has been some sort of a intuitive, some sort of a magical, perhaps divine, overseeing thing over all of us that kind of guides our hand in how we go and where we go. Is it built into the DNA? I don't know. It's
this is the divine experience. This is God.
This is God.
Do you find that people that have gotten into psychedelics are more spiritual, more God loving?
I don't know if I would. Yes, but there are a lot of weird and selfish and not pleasant. A drug does not change the substance of the person. I don't think a psychedelic automatically makes a person into an angel.
Is it not like it allows you to look over the hill and see where
it can
paradise?
It can, and where the other side is, heaven and hell. But you can see over the hill anyway if you only knew how.
Do we need structures to help us digest the experience? And with structures, I mean like in the Santo Daime movement or in some churches. We have a structure, a ritual structure, or a framework. People have the experience and then know it is like put in the Santo Daime divine environment, cosmology.
Yeah, is it necessary? I don't know.
It depends on the person.
Yeah.
I mean, is that like? Is that the help that you're looking for, the structure, because you experience things that are inexplicable, and then you need some framework to hang it on and say, okay, this is this and this and this, to make it bearable?
It again depends on the person.
I'm not comfortable. I don't know how to answer. I don't know how to get into that.
Some people need very much to have a religious structure or a spiritual.
Or take the structure that Terence sometimes hands out. When he talks about the DMT experience where you meet elves or whatever.
The small people who are around you but you can't normally see.
Yeah.
And yet I can show you a number of people who
keep it running, that's all.
Who have used DMT and find it absolutely offensive and totally uninteresting and don't ever want to go back. And yet there are all kinds of responses. It's to whom does a particular mystery novel appeal? Some people say that's one of the best ones I've ever read. I can't stand mystery novels. And they're not all people see Terence's elves.
No, that's what I mean. But it feels like if you have been told by Terence or his friends or from his books that this is one thing you could see, then more people see it than otherwise.
You are now back to the religious model again. If you've been told if you pray on your knees and ask God for forgiveness, you will be forgiven. But if you don't happen to go to that church, that's not your way.
Yeah, this is what I mean. But it's like it feels like a model that in our normal awareness has been transferred. Okay, this is some kind of elf experience, or you see a glass wall, and behind the glass wall you see entities. you hear this, then you take the DMT, and you have that kind of experience.
That's called suggestion and
Yeah,
suggestibility.
you're programmed in
Yes.
a way, which is good, because without that, you may not know where to go, and you may have a totally different experience that may not fit well.
Yeah, so that is it's a way.
Mhm.
That's what I was talking about. A structure to be able to digest it.
Yes, but it has a negative side. By giving the structure, by giving the program, by giving the suggestion of where it might go, you have in essence implanted a pre-program of where it will
You
go.
limit it also.
You limit it.
Yes.
So it's good and bad. It
Yeah.
occurs, and I think it has to be very much restricted. Please.
Yeah. What?
She's a mother, first and foremost.
What? I sometimes discern this strand of Terrence's vision about it, and I know a lot of people that took DMT. He's a Terrence guy with the elves.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other people that have an idea that they will meet UFOs.
Mhm.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Now, you know Brother David?
Stanley Rice?
Yeah.
Yes.
We were last year or the year before in Ireland at this conference. He said these are all just personal books, guides, structures that we use to being able to digest the unknowable, unspeakable, unapproachable that we experience in the psychedelic.
Well, if it were unknowable, undigestible, unapproachable, then you'd never be able to digest and know how to approach it.
Now then he said that we give it a personal explanation,
Okay.
like elves or Maria or whatever
A
religions
saucer or an alien or something.
whatever has gone through our cultural upbringing, and say, okay, this is it.
Mhm.
But in fact, the experience is much deeper and goes beyond that. But we just don't have words, images to.
And sometimes with some drugs, you don't have the recall, you don't have the memory, you have amnesia. I've know with some materials I've seen people use, they will be incommunicado during the experience. There's no communication as they are recovering and coming back into this particular state. You ask, what was that like? It was incredible. It was unbelievable. Well, what happened? I don't really know, but it was unbelievable. The nature, the spirit of it can be there, but the details are gone. It's like a dream. Was it 3 nights ago you had a fantastic dream? Do you remember? Well, you probably did. You woke up, you had a fantastic dream. What did you dream about? You've lost it. But the nature, the music of the experience is there. And so sometimes that is all you get to get that music, but you can't really explain, but say, oh, that was really tremendous, or that was the most frightful, death-like thing I've ever felt, and I'm so glad not to have to live there all the time. Well, what actually happened? Well, I don't really remember, but it was horrible. So the spirit, the music, can very well be there without the details. I don't care particularly for that type of an experience. I like to be there. I like to remember where I've been. I like to evaluate and titrate and learn from where I've been.
Do we learn? Do we learn?
If we want to.
In what direction?
Mm-hmm.
In what direction have you learned?
One thing I've learned, a very basic rule, which I think is very nice, and that is keep your sense of humor and don't take yourself seriously. And that's a hard one to learn. Have fun. Enjoy it. And simplify. Very good, very thing. This is coming very much in the last decade or two. Simplify things. You tend to build complex relationships and explanations and details and try to find how the elves indeed got on that side of that branch of the tree. Enough to know maybe they're elves.
Yeah.
And even at that, maybe they're not elves, but they're as if they were elves. Simplify. Make things a little bit easier to take. You can't take it all with you when you go. So at least you can. Who is it? Nabokov, I think it was, wrote this marvelous little line, which said, in essence, the last 2 seconds of your life are spent. The first second is reliving your entire life and going through everything kind of all over again to where you had come from and where you are now. That's the penultimate second. And the last second is preparing yourself for truly the ultimate change in state of consciousness. So maybe that's what you're learning. You're learning how to change your state and live, if I may use it as a slightly misdirected word, with that change of state of consciousness, which is the epitome, the quintessence of dying.
Well, for me, dying is this. Death is when we remember we are not alone.
Fair enough. That's quite a change of consciousness, too, to remember that.
Yes.
It means you once knew it.
Yes, yes. I come from something where I was one with everything, and I will go back to the state where I'm not alone. Not meaning that there's people, but meaning I'm not alone, that I am connected.
So you say, what is learned from the experience? Perhaps to some people, to learn not to fear death. And we're amongst, of all the animals, living things in the world, as far as I know, we're the only ones who are aware of death, who know that that is a process that we will undergo. The little kitty comes in and you pet the little cat and the cat's happy. The next day the cat is dead. No knowledge in that cat the day before of that potential, that we have that. And we have it, we don't understand it, therefore we fear it. And you fear the unknown. Once you know it, the fear kind of diffuses a little bit.
You see, what I would like to do is programs I think is only talk about the divine experience and about God in us and stuff like that. But you can't put it on TV and say you are mad. But that's what.
Yeah, this is one of the few redeeming virtues of the word that ought promotes a great deal, which is entheogen. It's unfortunately a badly constructed word, but the concept is good. That if there is a God, it is there. And as I said in that meeting at Vallombrosa, to the extent that there is one God, and He is in all of us, then we are all the same person. So there is that aspect of the unification that comes maybe from the exploring of all the states.
If you see people going through never having known any drugs and going to a series of sessions or taking it, do they come closer to this oneness feeling?
I think that's intrinsic to the human being. That the capacity for that. All these are intrinsic in the human.
And yet some people are so strongly programmed against it that they cannot acknowledge it. The how do you phrase it? The punishing God, the who are those two jokers in the 1500 crowd? Calvin and Hobbes. That's a real combination. Calvin and
who's the other one?
Luther. Yeah. The idea, God is the thing up there that dictates your life, and you behave or He'll punish you. And once you have that mindset, you can't enjoy life. You can't enjoy things if you really buy that trip. You don't dare enjoy things. People get happy; they're suddenly feeling kind of nice, and they'd be looking over their shoulder. Is God going to knock me down for this? That's what I've learned. And how do you open that up into enjoying and allowing and permitting?
Yeah. Do you subscribe to the theories by Stan Grof and others that says that, like, if you start taking drugs or LSD or whatever, or holotropic breath work, that you first have to relive your birth traumas and go to all kinds of states of anxiety and frustration?
All I know is that I have gotten back pretty damn close to the birth process, to the birth time, in remembering events that I knew were authentic, and I couldn't quite place them until they came back out of the amnesia of the first 3 or 4 years of my life. Actually, to the birth process, I have never had that experience. So you have not, no. And so I don't think it's mandatory. I don't think it's part of the process necessarily.
That is Stan Grof's structure.
Yeah, that's his structure.
Yeah, and it works very well for him and for the people.
And each person has his own structure. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if you don't have one, to learn from others. And maybe you will take bits of a philosophy here and an idea from there and perhaps a bit of his cosmology. And suddenly these fit well and those don't fit. So you end up building your own. It's unique. Truly unique self-definition. And if you take totally from another person, and for some reason you blindly accept everything that's going on there, then indeed you are not yourself. You are not an individual.
Oh, you lose your own power.
You lose your own power.
You think? Do we miss anything?
The nature of God and our relationship to it, her or him. That people will say you're crazy. This is a crazy sort of thing. Actually, there isn't a single person who might be watching or listening who doesn't respond at some level to that, because everyone in the world asks the same questions. They may not ask them out loud, but they all have the same questions. Where am I going? Why am I here? What is the meaning of the whole thing? So that even if the producers of the program may think this is crazy because they prefer to stay away from these very deep questions, your viewers will want more, because they are always looking for these answers in themselves and in every book they read and every movie they go to.
Yeah, but sometimes we have to give them an excuse to think about it. I think
Yeah.
that culture is very largely defined by the excuse we find to meet the other person and to meet the God in the other person. So
Yeah.
in the old days we would go to church. Now we go to the office and we do very serious. In fact, we
Yeah.
drink coffee and we exchange feelings.
Yeah.
And if we give people an excuse, like a party or a dress-up party or whatever, to meet and get over these barriers to you know.
Share one another. So
Share one another and become one. They like it,
Yeah.
but it's very hard to find one because
we've been
put
trained
all
to
kinds of
barriers.
Yeah.
What is a Reich and the body armor concept?
Yes.
You'll not get that close to me. I remember I very much enjoyed one experience in Paris one time. I saw a person who was Italian on a little motor scooter hit a car of a person who's French in his car. To each, those were sacred sexual objects, the car, the motor scooter. And they were in the middle of the Saint-Germain-des-Prés, or in the little curvy area down toward the Seine, nose to nose. And they were shouting. Well, the Frenchman didn't know much Italian, the Italian didn't know much French, but they were there. But the Frenchman kept backing up because the Italian, they were not aware of the fact that they were waltzing around the street with the Italian, who had a slightly smaller barrier, moving in, and the Frenchman had a slightly larger barrier moving away. But as they talked, they kept these barriers going. You put an Englishman there, and he'd be running backwards because his barrier is this long. And to this, we have our
It's called private space.
Private space.
Yeah.
And that is a body armor, and that's what you have to get through. You have to make openings in this.
Sex and drugs. Tell me, that's the one we missed.
I like them both.
that's clear. But what's the interaction? Is it about this body armor that you lose?
It can be, yes. A lot of the things that turns the personal love relationship into merely a sexual relationship is that you can divorce yourself from the intimate interaction that's necessary in opening up that armor, opening up, and the other person opening up that armor so you can see one another and you can hear one another, be with one another. So you dismiss that, you leave it all closed, and you go through a little bit of a manipulation that is presumably mutually satisfying. Or might not be. But it is not the intimacy. One thing that drugs can do is allow that intimacy, to suddenly allow you not to have to be paranoid against exposing yourself, not in the open sense, but in the emotional sense.
And learn the defense.
And let your defenses be aside for a little bit and not have to use them, not have to be guarding every single, he said that. I wonder why he said that. I wonder if he's implying such and such. And these are the guards that
Defenses.
Yeah. And sometimes those can be relaxed and should be. But they have to be relaxed in a way in which you are aware of it and it's part of your voluntary action.
I observed that in kids up to, 16, 18, 20, if they take ecstasy, their sexual drive gets much higher, while in older people, it actually becomes more of a heart connection.
Yes.
Isn't this the human animal in general? I mean, the steroids, the hormones are raging everywhere at the age of pubing and on into the early times. And then later on, you realize that what has lasting power is not your performance, but your interaction.
Yeah, you say it's hormones. Is it not like a period where you have to grow over your frustrations, and that because of the drug, the frustrations fall away, and you can let go of your instinct?
MDMA, for instance, is a heart opener. It is called the love drug, but it is love, not sex. It's not a sexual turn on, except in as much as the sexual energy is brought about by the opening of the heart and the feelings of companionship and
Yet I've observed that young kids feel it as a sexual opener rather than a heart opener.
Because for the young adolescent, all energy translates to sexual energy at a certain stage, right? Especially for the boys. And
that's a sexist comment.
Yes, it's a simple fact. It's the way nature's made it. But the older you get, the more you understand the opening here is the most important of all. But the negative side is, of course, that the misuse of drugs can also be used to make somebody sexually vulnerable. I mean, there are negative aspects to all of these things. I don't think you can make love with psychedelics until you know the territory of the psychedelic, because it's a very complex. You're opening up the unconscious and the subconscious, and making love under those conditions is a very complex and magnificent thing. But
Do you ever do women's groups and talk about it?
I don't.
You don't?
No, I'm not a women's group person.
No, but like I could imagine that especially these sexual heart-opening experiences are different for that it would work better.
I'm not sure they are different for women.
Well, one thing is you tend to cross vocabularies. You tend to use making love and having sex as being the same.
No,
that's a very important.
They're two different. They can be two different things. But with the psychedelics, they become the same thing. But again, this would not be the case with a stranger. I would not. For me, it wouldn't be. I would be able to open up all the levels of myself only with somebody I can trust completely on all levels.
But this is where, for instance, the tantric experience that must have some psychedelic roots too, says at some point you, in some kind of ritual, you open up to anybody, whether they're young, old, beautiful.
Potentially, yes. This can be so. This is a cultural thing. I happen to have been programmed emotionally and spiritually in every other way to not want to do this as much as I want to connect.
No. Their culture is the same. Only like the tantric way is the way of the opposite of the two-sided diamond thing, where you really go into a very polarized experience to see that it's all the same. So it's not a normal thing.
It's a meditation concept.
It's a meditation. It's a really spiritual thing.
Yes.
And it is like you have to let go of whatever your ideas about a person are there and open up to it.
Yeah.
To it.
This is a certain level. There are many different levels of experience. There's a level I call the God level, where there is no. I've hit it. When you hit it, it lasts for perhaps 2 seconds, where there is no difference between love and destruction. That's way up there. That's a level we don't live with as humans.
The Indian lady who had them both in the same. Kali.
The Kali.
Yeah.
But this is very distinctly. This is perhaps why all this has been occult and hidden for so long, because you don't live as a human on that level. You cannot, or you must not, and you should not. But it's important to experience it, to know that it's there. The why and what the meaning of it is something it takes years to try and figure out.
Yeah, well, it's like last thing. There's a book called What are you reading? Isn't this Celestian Prophecy?
Celestian Prophecy. I have
I think Searching for Spirituality. Tell me about it. She just read the book.
Well, it depends on the reader. I found it quite good for what he was. I was amused at the fact that he made up this tremendously active scenario in order to put across a few very good, valuable ideas. But when you're a writer, you see what the writer is doing. And so it was sort of funny in certain ways. But I think he did a very good job of what he was trying to do, which was to put. I think what I'll do is give you the calendar I have, because you probably can't get it.
We have that stuff. I've seen the book and I've seen what I'm she just read. En dit was het interview met Dr. Shulgin en zijn vrouw Anne. Nog even een beeld van de geheime opslagplaats van Dr. Shulgin. Met een enorme hoeveelheid verschillende chemicaliën. Hij is er echt trots op. Het ruikt verschrikkelijk. En hij vertelde ons dat allerlei mensen uit de hele Verenigde Staten hem potjes met chemicaliën opsturen. Dr. Shulgin komt in februari in Mystère een workshop houden over ecstasy en andere synthetische drugs. Met name mensen uit de therapeutische hoek kunnen hier hun voordeel mee doen.
Suck my fat one, you cheap dime store hood.